what site you was scammed by?
Primarily SofiaDate.
And you was scammed in total amount. It was 12,000 US dollars,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. It was previous year and this year, right? So between 22 and beginning of 23. So it was not long ago.
Right. It began around mid-October, and um, just for this interview, I went back on and spent an additional $20 just to recapture some of the images. But it basically ended January 4th.
So you spoke there, you spent 4 months on that site. And can you share your story? Because, guys, we have a very unusual case today. So Sean was not by like classic scam. He was there by purpose, by specific reason. Sean, I let you tell your
Right.
reason.
I was writing a book on human motivation and human needs, using a few different psychological premises. And one of the premises involves relatedness, and we all have a need for relatedness. But online dating has become predominant in the world, online communications. So text messaging and emails project the least amount of reality. So it's hard to get a sense of the person being real. But online dating, the scammers are experts at it. So I went on the sites to kind of de-engineer or reverse engineer how they did this, because it's very powerful. It's very, I mean, I've seen people who have spent thousands and thousands of dollars and believe they're actually in a relationship, and how that's done online is absolutely amazing, and it's psychologically interesting.
Exactly. So the point of those sites to keep you in chat or to exchange letters as long as it possible, as much as it possible. So what are your impressions? How they can do this? And
Well,
why you Western guys believe that this communication is real, that beautiful lady, I will show you guys their profiles, like, why you believe that beautiful lady will seeking for a man who is older? Sean, can you share your age with our
yes,
viewers?
ma'am. It started when I was 56. I'm now 57.
You are now 57.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
do you think that this is a good age gap?
No, ma'am, that's unrealistic.
It's unrealistic.
Hmm.
And I have to agree with you that all these ladies, they are 36, 35 years old, and it's like out of zone, which is healthy, most
Hmm.
of cases. So very beautiful looking ladies
Right.
and young ladies. So why, Shoni, we lost you? If you can hear me, okay, I'm sorry. So why, how they explain to you why they are okay to communicate with a man who 20 years, 21 years old, older than they? What they are seeking for there on the side?
Well, they are actually working against what a normal woman would do, but they're going for what a normal man would do. Um, Most men from 16 to 90 find younger women attractive. In fact, like the most attractive age group is actually 21 to 23 across that span. But that age group, about 35, 36, 40, for people who are established, meaning usually 45 and up, when they've reached their full earning potential, start to those are young women. Like for me, a 35-year-old is a very young woman. She's still able to have children. She's able to do this. Where realistically, I could have children, but is it best for the children? And is it safe to do so with a woman of my age? So it's basically they're selling a dream. Like, you deserve this, and oh, I'm so attracted to you. I love distinguished gentlemen. You could teach me so much. So it plays on ego. And men, for the most part, aren't used to getting attention from 9s and 10s on the sexual market value place on a scale of 1 to 10. So and they're not used to approaching or having women approach them. So when one does, it feeds further into the ego, and it just makes it more desirable. And the more desirable it becomes, the person starts filling in the holes and filling in the gaps and saying, yes, this is possible. And the more attention she gives, the more time she spends, the deeper that feeling gets. So it's a play on the men's psychology. It's kind of, they're using psychological warfare on the person they're scamming.
Okay, so you came there by purpose to understand this psychological like technique.
Right.
So did you know about exactly this site, SofiaDate, that this is a scamming site?
I did.
You know.
And I'll tell you how I knew it was.
Yeah, interesting to know.
Right. First, I Googled, and to give an example, why the Ukraine? There's dating sites for everywhere, but I had lived in Kiev. So it was, I had two choices, Czech Republic or the Ukraine. But I've been in the Ukraine a little longer. So, and I got more of
How long? Let's share, please.
right. And I had interacted with a lot of people in the Ukraine. So I chose the Ukraine. So I just Googled how to date a Ukrainian woman. And then it pages after pages after pages came up with dating sites. And so I went highest rated. And then SofiaDate came up and some other ones. And the first ones that come up are always paid advertisements. So if you're the best at something, you don't have to pay for those advertisements. Results speak louder than words. So,
Yeah.
so when you're
What system they have? You need to pay something to pass registration there, and then you need to pay for chat minutes with the ladies, right?
Right, they give you like 100 free credits, which is maybe a couple dollars worth, and that's why they attack you as soon as you get on there.
So you have some couple bucks credits, and you're able to speak. How long can you speak for this amount of money?
You can chat for maybe 30 minutes at the most.
Oh,
At the
30
most.
minutes. I think. Do you agree with me? I think it's enough to during 30 minutes already to warm your interest. How many ladies during this 30 minutes text to you? Guys, I will show you example of chat. Right side is picture. You can see this catfishing. Your gaze can strike the soul of any girl. Have you thought about it? So some compliment and girl messaging first, right? Next, let's try to play, shall we? Very tricky question, right? For every man. Every man wants to play with a beautiful woman. Why not?
Right.
Do you like watching sportive women also? So she like to encourage you for some communication. You don't answer. Sean, why you are silent? Did you think it's over between us?
Well, and was because there was also 20 or 30 of them. And that's part of the psychology too. It's like everybody's heard this, the kid in the candy store. They don't know what they want to choose. I mean, you have 30 good-looking, beautiful women that are way out of your league, and all of a sudden you're choosing, well, this one, no, this one, no. And it's all part of the psychology. Now you believe you're the king. you have all these choices, and these women are desperate to be with you.
Don't you have that moment any suspicious, like why such a beautiful and young ladies attacking you with those messages?
Not when you see my profile. I thought they were all in, I knew they were not real, because if you show my profile to your guest, you'll see why I knew that right away. It didn't matter what I put up or what I wrote. It just didn't matter. Nothing mattered. No normal woman would have answered my profile.
Because it was some picture, which is weird picture, and description. Can you share the description of your profile?
In my profile, I wrote that I was looking for a former prostitute or a woman currently doing pornography. That's what I was looking
And
for.
it was freaky, right? So it was
Yeah,
absolutely out of healthy description of yourself, and non lady will agree to communicate with guy who has some problems, maybe a mental problems or something, right? But you was
right.
attacking with young and beautiful ladies.
Hmm.
Okay, you went there by purpose. You didn't expect that anyone there is real and will start communication with you. But do you think can it work for any other man? Can
I,
you understand that this is a trap?
I found one person through a 4-month search on the internet who actually got married, and
Hmm.
he'd gotten divorced within a year, and it cost him a fortune, literally a fortune. Um, and he was a 55-year-old male from a business owner from Australia, and she ruined him. Um, she got enough out of him where she could probably retire with 20 apartments in Kiev and a lifetime supply of money. I mean, it was a lot.
Yeah.
And she was 25. So, and that should be unrealistic to anybody. If you're 55 years old, your daughter could easily be 25 years old.
Hmm.
And
How
and
you
I
can imagine relations with your daughter or girlfriend of your daughter, right?
right, and I always explain it by, like, when I was in the military, when we were 18, 19 years old, there was a senior enlisted people, and they were getting ready to retire, and they were 38 years old, and we used to call them grandpa or
Hmm.
pops.
Hmm.
They were the old guys, and they were 38, which is a young man.
It's military specific terminology.
Mhm.
In Ukraine, we have the same. Ukraine, Russia, the same. Like, yeah, 35. It's like grandpa, pass. Yeah, it is true.
Right.
It's typical.
But
um,
it was so blatantly obvious. But the communication, you can see where the men would get trapped, and it's because they it's a constant bombardment. They're constantly at your beck and call. They're online 24 hours a day. Um, and nothing's real on it. I mean, if you look at the primary scammers profile pictures, they're obviously photoshopped compared to the ones when she was taken. And that's not the primary one. Um, the primary one is Alexandria at 41. She
mhm.
and I don't mean to be kind of piggish, but she was very flat chested, but in her profile picture she was very voluptuous. Um, and she looks like she's 25, 26, but in reality she was 41. And it's all visual at first, because that works primarily with men.
What can you say about like their communication? Because you lived in Ukraine, you're
Mhm.
familiar with our ladies, with our culture, the way they speak in reality. You had some dates in with Ukrainian ladies, right?
Mhm. Yes, ma'am. Um, The biggest difference for me between the scammers and actual like regular Ukrainian women, or I mean, I'm not saying regular is degrading,
Average, we can say.
right, was that the forwardness was the biggest thing. And they very rarely start off selling sex to you. That's very private part of their lives. They're not big into public displays of affection, even in a chat when you're having it. They carry themselves with a lot of pride, where these scammers don't. They show everything from the beginning, and they're very wide open emotionally and everything else. And that's just completely opposite of 99% of the people I met in the Ukraine.
So, will I be right if I consume that Ukrainian ladies, in reality, they are not too open about like this, encouraging about some intimate topics and to show everything. So, will I right if I will say that Ukrainian lady will like hold it for later for special men when you become closer and don't bring up
Right.
these topics and don't try to hint you on any kind of intimacy at the beginning.
Right. Even little things like holding hands or hugging in public, or when it's just not the way it is. It's more of a, for Americans, and I'm sorry if you have viewers outside the United States, it's more of like a 1955, 1950s date. It's it's not fast paced and just run off in the sunset together. Now we're going to be in love. It's just, it can happen quickly, but
Yeah.
it's the emotional expressions are not entered into that quickly, or they're not saying, look at me, I'm so beautiful. You would never hear that.
So I'm leading to that point for guys.
Mhm.
Like I'd wish to give some tips for guys, like when you can receive from a lady, especially when you try to contact you first. Doesn't matter. Does they do this on PPL sites, on scam sites with the chat when you need to pay, or even if she exchange contacts and go to some WhatsApp, for example, if she's
Mhm.
starting to communicate too much bold, too much open, some hints, guys, receive this please like a red flag, huge red flag, because
Mhm.
lady will, average Ukrainian girl, she will, as you said, Sean, very correct, she will treat herself and behave herself with the pride, and she will expect from men this initiative, and then if she like you, she will like answer you mutual feelings and the same manner, but not show first like I like you so much. Never, guys, never girl will say you this first.
And I always tell people that I've spoken to along this time, was one of the things they had to remember was the competitive nature for women in the Ukraine. There's more women than there are men.
Mhm.
So you didn't want to be the the girl every guy's been with, or the pass around girl, or the easy girl, because it would doom you. Your
Yeah.
your dating options would disappear. So um, it's just I don't even believe the people on the pay site are Ukrainian, to be honest with you. And if they are, they're very shadowy, but mostly men, I believe.
Yes. Yeah, so okay, and how they behave themselves, you are familiar, you lived in Kiev 2 years.
Hmm.
And when you asked her, "Are you from Kiev?" She said, "Yes, I'm from Kiev." But she didn't.
Right.
She never knew that you was in Kiev, right? And
Right.
then you come with this like test
Right.
about
I
some
would.
occasion. Can you share this story, please?
Yeah. Anybody who's ever been to Kiev and Independence Square, and every Kievian, for lack of a better word, everybody lives in Kiev, knows, most of the Ukraine knows Independence Square.
It's the middle of Kiev, and every tourist who
Right.
ever just once was in the Kiev, of course, visit Independence Square.
Right. And they have the most marvelous McDonald's there. And I know it. McDonald's is not highly thought of everywhere, but Kiev has the world's best McDonald's, and it's right at the I get my northern easterns mixed up over there, but it's in a predominant corner, and it's clearly visible, and it stands out. There's no way to miss the McDonald's in Kiev or Independence Square. And if you would ask them about it, and they wouldn't know about it, or they wouldn't know about just simple things about Kiev and like the gates of Kiev or this or that. And then they would come back later and Google it if you backed off a little bit. And they would say, oh, yes, of course. And I'd say, how did you like the mosaic tile floors in that McDonald's? Which there wasn't mosaic tile floors in that McDonald's. And they would just come back immediately. They're the most beautiful in the world. Or, there was a Ukrainian fast food franchise in the subway. And then the subway, that's the longest subway stairs in the world. It's like you're going to China. And you would say,
China, but yeah, it's something like officially the deepest subway, stairs.
Right. And these are known, they're hard to miss, but you would say, well, thank God you're not on the escalator very long. And they would say, yes, da da dee da da. You're on that escalator for what seems like an hour. It's really long.
Yeah.
And it was just simple things like that to where they didn't know Kiev.
Okay, but my main goal here about this question, not that they only don't know Kiev, not every foreigner can check this information and make such a tricky test, but
Right.
the thing which I want to brought up here is when you tell to this lady that, okay, I was in Kiev, I lived there, and you have no idea about Kiev, so you caught her online. What
Right.
did she do then?
I just blew it off. I didn't tell her I caught her in a lie. I kept reversing the script, and like she would try to get me to stay online, and then I would disappear for longer periods of time. And I would accidentally call her the wrong name. And for instance, most women, if you're communicating and they're telling you they love you and you want to get married and all this and that, if you call them the wrong name,
Oh my God, better to hide. Guys,
right,
better to run.
but it wouldn't phase them. And then every Ukrainian has the names are put together differently than American names, but you have shorter names. And one lady's name she went by Sasha, and Sasha is usually a male name. But the big thing about it was she would talk about male things like Batman and how sexy Halle Berry was. And I would understand if she was telling me how sexy Brad Pitt was, but it wouldn't go on and on and on about Halle Berry. She's an actress, for those who don't know.
Yeah, I know Halle Berry.
But you could start debating politics and other things, but switch it to a male perspective, and they would go right to it. And then the next thing you know, you'd be talking about women from a male perspective, because they would forget also. I mean, it is somebody doing the chatting, and you could easily just slide them back in and find out if it was a man, find out if it was a woman, just by that. And you would also see different personalities at different times of day. So I had a little chart, and I knew what personality was going to show up where, and I would change my story.
Can I ask you about your psychological degree?
Yes, I have a degree, a doctorate degree in psychology, and I study human motivation.
Okay, so my logic question, when a person, anyone, man or woman, doesn't matter, was caught on lie, what usual reaction should be?
Well, it depends on the lie. I mean, if it's a big one, like I, it's bad. But everyone, says bad things about lies. Lies, we all lie a little bit. Like if, for example,
Small lie, but I think
right.
that usual human being reaction should be a sorrow and ashamed, right?
Yeah,
And person
well,
try to hide to avoid this communication next because we feel such ashamed when we was caught on even small lie about small things. But
mhm,
those people there at campsite, doesn't matter boy or a girl staying behind those profiles, they feel nothing, no any shame, and they trying to keep communicating next
mhm.
because the
No,
most important, like money doesn't smell, right? So
they'll,
doesn't
they'll,
matter what you think
they'll,
about me. I will continue speaking because every minute your box is paying.
well, they'll blame the male. They use it is a female method of attack, but they instantly go into a shaming, like it's your fault and you're wrong and you're not a real man. These attacks, and once they do that, you've cornered them because that's the same thing as a man hitting you. Because in the real world, very few women can punch a man and do damage, but they can shame you and they can yell at you and use all caps at you. And they'll go on and on and on and on and on until you just want to change the subject. Every, you know, damsel in distress, girl up, a woman upset, men will gladly change the subject at a certain point. But then they keep you occupied. Then they'll throw a sexy video in it. And if you ever tried to leave one of the scammers, you'll instantaneously get naked pictures.
One
Instantaneously.
more interesting thing you told me, like how to avoid opening the letter, and when you don't open the letter on the side,
Right.
they can't they can take your money, but you could see what inside the letter from
Right.
from iPhone, right?
Yeah. If you're using an iPhone, you'll see the bar at the bottom, and it's got the font. And like right now, it says SteamYard.com. It's got the refresh symbol. Well, if you click the font with your finger, it'll come up. It'll say Show Reader, and you hit Show Reader, and you can read their letters without paying for it. And they'll keep hounding you. Did you open my letter? Did you open my letter? And you say, yes, yes, of course. And no, you didn't read my letter. And I said, yes, you talked about your sister, or this or that, this or that. And they would go, they would insist that you didn't. And
Yeah.
so I'd say, well, send me another one. And they would send another one. Of course, you'd hit reader again, and then you'd tell her what was in it. And she was going, I will call you, I will text you right back. And she'd be gone for 30 minutes. So I can only imagine she was talking to why she wasn't receiving something or being credited for it. I'm not exactly sure how they're paid.
So here we have red flag number two
Mm-hmm.
and tip at the same time. So if
Right.
lady insists to open her letter, and usually they speak about anything, blah blah blah, not that important, and she insists to open your letter and
Mm-hmm.
want to communicate more and more to open letters. And tip at the same time, guys who has iPhones, better not to stay, of course, at PPL sites because I don't know PPL sites who.
Yeah, I
Um,
would not advise it. It can be psychologically damaging. It really can.
exactly. That's what like the most important goal and conclusion what I want to brought with these interviews. And the most important, unfortunately, I work in as a coach at Guaranty, and
Mm-hmm.
this is the most difficult type of men after scam sites, which were damaged psychologically, mentally damaged, and then very difficult to find in a good place when we have good women. They
Mm-hmm.
can't. They can't agree for something which is different from that fantasy.
Right,
And
and they think that's their new standard. That's their new beauty standard, and that's their new affection standard. So they have to recover from that and realize that this woman wasn't real, but that, it's kind of like pornography. It's you don't see how they make pornography, you just see the product. The same thing with the pay sites is you see the beautiful woman and she's talking to you, and as that goes on and on and on, that becomes your standard. That's the type of woman you feel like you deserve. And even if it's very hard to go back to reality and date.
Is it possible to come back to reality? What tips people can use, men, after that scam sites, like to come back to reality, to understand that those ladies, they are empty. They are extremely beautiful, but they are empty with low values, and they just sell themselves, even not literally sell. They sell fantasy, a dream about being with them.
Right.
Without any sorrow, any respect to you, to your money, how hard you work and how many you can pay, doesn't matter. Sean, I want to show guys that picture of lady who you said she's the main scammer there. Guys, look please attentive at this lady. So young lady, average looking, so she not like that top model, very beautiful woman, but not that like top model. But look at these pictures. She holding new iPhone, she holding bouquet of flowers, she holding perfumes Chanel.
But show
They,
her profile picture, and that's when you see the big difference.
I don't know. Do we have? It is not she. Okay.
Alexander 41.
But is this she's?
That's her. That's actual photographs of her. It's still a professional photograph, but if you see the picture of her in her profile page, it's completely. She's 20 years younger and more voluptuous and everything else. Like you said,
But she is not 41 even there on those pictures with the gifts. She
no,
doesn't look like 41.
right, but that's a lot of makeup if you zoom in
Yeah.
on it. I mean, those are professional pictures. They're touched up and everything else. But the profile pictures are completely insane. It's not the same person, not the same teeth, not the same chest, not the same anything.
And asking Sean, did you bought those items to that lady?
I did, and because they were so entertaining, the stories were great. I loved them. Even the flowers was first. It started off with, my neighbor has a husband, and he brings her beautiful flowers to say he loves me, and you do nothing for me. So it's bargaining your love on that story. She's challenging you and your manhood. So of course you have to step up and buy flowers, and to buy flowers is nothing. I mean, it's very low cost. And then she'd start talking about which perfume she likes about a week before. And then she did the damsel in distress. I'm so stupid. I'm so stupid. I'm so stupid. I knocked my perfume off and onto the bathroom floor, and now I have nothing, and da 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 da. And of course, she wants you to solve this problem. And the store on site sells it. She knows exactly what's sold on the store and how many credits it is, all of it. So of course, I told her, okay, whatever, I'll get you the perfume. But I was finding out the story, so I stretched it out. And then the iPhone story was brilliant. She was texting me, and she said she was laying in the bed upside down, or with the phone up, and she dropped it on her nose, and it broke the iPhone, and it cut her nose. Of course, you never saw a picture of this, but she's going on and on. Hold on a minute. I have to get ice. I have to get this. I have to get that. How will we communicate? How will we do this? And she's still using the same iPhone to communicate with you. And once again, an iPhone costs, well, it costs 3 times as much as it does in the United States, but in the grand scheme of things, it really didn't cost that much. But it was leading to the big one, and that's what I wanted to know what the final game was. And it was before the power got cut off in Odessa. And so first she wanted a generator when the power got cut off.
Oh.
And now you're talking about $4,000. But the site doesn't say they'll get one. She says they'll get her a certificate for one.
Mm-hmm.
And to get a generator at that time in the Ukraine was impossible to get one. And they wanted you to send $4,000. I said, well, I'll send you money by Western Union, because she said she knew where she could get one in town, but the one at the site was much better. But I said, well, at least there'll be one and you won't freeze to death. Because she kept saying how cold it was and da-da-dee, da-da-da. And so she couldn't get Western Union because she would be robbed. And I'm like, why would you get robbed going to what are you going to do when you get a generator? I mean, if your neighbors know you have a generator, they're going to rob you. You know, they don't care about your Western Union money as much as that generator at the time. But you could never send her any money unless it was on the site. And the other way you knew it was a game was you could watch live coverage of what was going on in Odessa in real time. And meanwhile, it wouldn't be going on in her life at that time. For instance, there was bombings going on at that time. Rockets were landing in Odessa. And she was just out of the bath practicing yoga and talking to you. Things like that. It was, but I stretched out the generator story about 7 weeks. And then she got violent at the end of it, or, you know, you're not a real man. You're not this. You'll be old and lonely. Da 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 da.
So, if a real lady in reality will challenge you the same way, would it be the red flag for you to start communication relation with this lady? Is it appropriate to challenge you that way, to speak that way, to expect that you have to buy something?
I'm not purchasing anyone's love. I would leave, and I wouldn't think highly of a woman who did. I would, if it was real and I'd known her and I knew she was real, like we had been communicating. Helping then is a completely different thing, and even then she probably wouldn't ask. You know, she would expect you to stand up.
Let's imagine that situation. You stay in communication with the lady,
Right.
and she's real, 100% she's real. You get know her out of the site, in internet or on the street personally, and she came with you with that kind of ask to buy something, to challenge you with this story, stupid story with iPhone. Oh, I'm so stupid, I broke my phone, I can't work right now.
Well,
Do
I've
you
got a
understand that this
handwritten
is
deal.
manipulation?
Right. But if she told me that story in real life, I'd probably laugh. But in all honesty, it is manipulation. But what they're counting on is all the contact, and they're there 24 hours a day. So she's always at your beck and call. She's constantly texting you. She lingers trying to keep you on there longer. By I love you more and stuff like that, just things that it's like you're being a teenager. It's no different than dating in the 9th grade of school. But yeah, it's all a focus of manipulation, every bit of it.
I want as well to show those screenshots, and guys, just look here.
This is the after one. This
This
is
is the
what
after one, and this message at your app, right? Not on the site.
right. They will sell your data to other scammers. And this one says she met me on the site, but she doesn't know what site. And how would you not know what site?
So this lady, she expecting for some scam out of sight. So this lady probably
Mhm.
will receive Western Union or some other kind of help.
Mhm.
So it means that they gave to those scammers your personal contacts.
Right. I've had 3 of them. One lady, and you can scam back in a way. She contacted me, said, we met on the site. And I sent back, I remember you. You're da da dee da da da. And then you say something completely ridiculous like, I want to marry you today. Any normal woman would turn her phone off and run away. She says, I need to come to you because the war is here. You can't come here, da da dee da da da. And then, but I have to get a visa. And I said, well, get the visa and I will get the airline tickets. And she comes back. She goes, let me check what it takes to get a visa. I'll text you back tomorrow. And then she'll say you have to send her $4,000 for the lawyer to go get the visa. And then I'll say, well, you can go to the embassy and they'll help you fill out the paperwork right now for free. And I said, you don't have to pay anything. And she go, oh, the lines are so long. The lawyer can cut the lines. I said, where's the lawyer from? And, he's Ukrainian. And I'm like, so a Ukrainian lawyer can go straight into the American embassy for $4,000? Who is this lawyer? Then they disappear. You basically have to just call them out on it. And, and like ask them, what kind of man would send money to a woman he never met on the internet? But instead, they've already spent all this time investing, building your ego, building your affection, building the dream. And that's what it is. It's a dream. So my suggestion is to send Monopoly money. That's for a game that has money in it. You don't send them real money. And
Gregory had the same like tricky things, and on the asking of $800 or something, he sent 800 pennies.
right.
Sean, how did you came to Match Guarantee? So you become a client of Match Guarantee, and what the difference did you feel? Why did you buy that?
Well, I apologize, Billy. I stumbled upon Billy's video on YouTube. And I started watching it, and Joe was very interesting. So I went back and I looked at Joe's, but then your videos, I was listening to the advice you were giving, and I'd only been on since then. I've been on 2 chats on your videos, but I was listening and reading the chats, like what cracks me up, and a few other ones. So I started listening to what you were saying, and you were teaching guys. Joe was explaining the Ukraine, and you set it up with an actual Skype call with the lady, and you don't ask for that delay. So then I just kept watching, and we've made a few phone calls. I spoke to a few Skype calls and stuff like that, but everybody is actually giving you factual based information. There's no sell of the fantasy world like, Sean, you can date a 20-year-old. They're out there for you. Nobody says that. They want you to work on one woman at a time, not 30 every day. So it just kind of works out that I found actual people married from your company, unlike SofiaDate. And you're not, my credit card doesn't say you're a scam. SofiaDate is actually registered as an escort service. It's a prostitution service.
And where did they registrated? Which
Out of
side originally?
Cyprus, and then from
Cyprus.
Cyprus,
Mhm.
and then there's part of it is in Boston, Massachusetts. And so your money's never going to the Ukraine. They're actually war profiteers. They're making money right now off the war. And
Right. First variant, Bill, but what also has a question. First variant, correct
mhm,
name, Sean. Yeah, first.
right, yeah, SEAN. Um, so
Okay, so but you did understand from the beginning that they are scam, that you will never receive any lady there in reality.
right,
So you understand this. This
I
is by.
told, I actually told them what I was doing. All
But
this,
I don't think they do care because the most important that you pay in.
I told each one of them, I'm writing a book. This is what I'm writing the book on. I'm not looking
When
to
would
get
be your
married.
release of your book?
Um, well, it's probably going to take me another year. Science is slow, right? It's very detailed, and it's just one part of it. Most of the book doesn't deal with this. It deals with actually how to project yourself online, how to be real online, and so others feel you're real, and how you know others are real. Because evidently, online dating is like going to be around for a while. So
Mhm.
you
So,
have to go into it.
what are your main advice for guys? Psychological, I can say advice. Maybe some your research you can share here. How to avoid bad places? How to recognize that this place is completely wrong?
Well, just like you and I are having a conversation right now, if you're not, like, you and I have had several conversations, and you're always the same person, and you're part of the company, and there's other people in the company that you're speaking to too, and then you go on YouTube and you see like Billi and the walkthrough with Billi and the other people who've met and the ladies' profiles. Joe's videos go back 6 years, and you can progress with Joe. He was actually a very young guy when he started doing the videos,
Mhm.
and now he's not as old as me, but he's getting there. Um, and he's lived the story. He's done the story, and it's result driven. It's not, here's the price, here's what you get, not pay per minute, pay for letter, pay
And don't try to sell you empty hopes and dreams, fantasies, just
the
really. And
right.
we really do as well, I can say, both way interview.
Mhm.
So not only our clients come to us for request
Right.
to find a wife, we also like we can reject some men, guys, sorry to like bring this here, but this is
Mhm.
true. If the man after scam sites come to match Guaranty with their own unrealistic expectations and saying, I want 25 years old wife, I'm sorry, but we can't help you because none of our clients, ladies who seeking a husband for herself, she will not agree. We will not just receive any agreement from any lady to start this communication, why she should start speaking with you and waste her time if she want to meet a life partner. So
Right.
this is true. No, any the lady shouldn't receive any benefits from this communication. The only benefit should receive the lady is to become happy with her life partner.
Right. And the best part about what I like about your company versus the other ones is, when I was talking to the coach, she had spoken to the ladies, and I had chosen one lady to write to, and she said, I don't think that's the one for you. And I said, why? And she goes, well, she doesn't have your personality, da 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 da. And I think your second choice is much better choice. But she'll let you go to that first choice if you want to. And we saw that with Billi. And I'm not knocking Billi. I've enjoyed Billi more than Billi's got a great story going.
I adore this story.
Yeah, I mean, it's still going on, but
Yeah.
you've taken the time to interview the ladies as well and psychologically profiled them as well as the men signing up, and you're trying to match up more than just, okay, it's not a numbers game. It's, let's see if we can match up people who actually match up. And then the self-reflection, like improve this, work on this, stop doing this. It's not healthy for you. It's not working for you. Like you saw that with Billi, sit back, let her talk some, which I'm showing a bad example of right now because I'm doing all the talking. But
I don't know. You have the different kind of interview here. It's not a date with the lady.
right,
It's different. So you need to bring your experience to guys. And uh, you know why we're doing these interviews? Because you stay in there. You
mm-hmm,
know your culture from the inside. You know this man's mindset.
mm-hmm,
And you can explain, like, not everyone can trust. For me, for example, I'm Ukrainian lady which staying many thousand miles away from your place with different culture, and
right,
some people don't know me, but they can believe to the same guy, like guy next door, right?
right,
Because you the same, you had the same purpose, you have the same like cultural aspects, and you know how it feels, you know what you want, and you experience that for
mm-hmm.
purpose, for specific purpose. But anyway, I want to say that your book will be very expensive. I hope it
Right.
will bring you
Well,
good results.
when you're doing something, that's something you should do while you're dating. You should be passionate about what you're passionate about. Whether if you're passionate about sitting on the couch watching television, be honest and say, I like to sit on the couch and watch television. I'm an expert at it. Or, don't try to mold yourself to be somebody to make her happy. You got to be your own man. And when you find a woman that's trying to be your own woman and you're both compatible, then it works. But when you um, try to say, and I'm going to use Billi, please forgive me. When he said, I want to make her the happiest, I want to do this for her, I want to love her more than anybody else. You got to love yourself first. You have to be honest about who you are and be realistic. Um,
It is
I,
very tricky borders between
mhm,
being selfish and between healthy self-love. And it
right.
should be this golden middle, because when you
Mhm,
just dedicate all your life to someone, so your own personality doesn't exist. And
right.
if you put all your world, inner world, dedicate to some other person, so if this person will leave, you will have nothing, but you should have yourself.
Right. And if you go into it with what you honestly live your life as and who you are, you're more likely to be successful than not because you're going to find somebody who accepts you for who you are. If you're trying to project something and you're trying to date a 25-year-old supermodel, you might get 6 months out of the deal, and it's going to be a miserable 6 months. Because she's going to be a very angry woman when she gets to you. And if you put down your sporty or you do yoga or any of these things, and she thinks you're going to do it with her, and you don't, you're going to be on the opposite. You're going to be the scammer.
Yes, guys, the higher bar you making, the more challenging would be your life. And also you should ask yourself, can I cope with that? Not for like show off, not for week, not for months, but during all the lifestyle. Can I be that active man who can satisfy this lifestyle?
Well,
Absolutely. Mm.
one thing I remember, I had an interpreter named Ilona. I won't use her last name because she's from Kiev. Um,
Mhm.
and she told me that a saying that you was a Ukrainian saying was man was supposed to be one step above monkey.
Yeah,
And
true.
and they just want a good guy. They don't care if you're an Olympic gold medalist or you go on a marathon every day or you have $1 million. Just be a decent, good man. That's really one step above a monkey. That's it.
I think that the most valuable in men from woman's perspective, that she will fall in love with you the way you take care about her.
Right. And how you keep your word by means of provide, protect, and support, you know?
It's everything about care on different levels. It doesn't mean that only physical, strong, and mature and
Mhm.
rich guys can accomplish,
No.
but no, you can be like, look at Billy. He's a nice guy in general. He's
Hmm.
nice because he's kind and he will do care. But first,
Hmm.
he had to find himself, his real self. And
Right.
then, of course, when he will be interested inside with his own life, of course, he will be much more rich, not financially, but emotionally and mentally. He will become a rich person, and then he can become that genuine man who can
Right.
take care on a good level of his woman. And
Most women inherently know that a man who is stable and provides security and is good to them is a better long-term investment than a rich guy that's not, or anything else. It's that just being a good person and being yourself will get you further.
Sean, I really glad that you have that realistic views for life partner. I a little bit more familiar of your story and of your requests because we had that talks before this interview.
Right.
And you are very, very welcome as a client to Match Guarantee because it's really adorable from our side, from inside, I mean, in this matchmaking. When adequate men with realistic expectations and rich inner world can become like a client, it means that you really can make some lady happy. That's what we wish for our clients, for both of clients, for men as
Right.
well for women.
And that's my goal also, is to have a good life. And in order to do that, you have to approach it from a realistic perspective anyway. Like, you're not going to be happy with a girl that's 40 years younger than you or 30 years younger than you. It's not realistic. You would cause more drama, more stress, and you're at different stages of life. Um, and I know some guys will disagree with it. It's very popular, in your 50s to want to date someone in their 20s for some reason, but it's just not realistic. And it's the personality of the woman you're with that beauty will get you in the door, but the personality will keep you there for the rest of your life. So
Exactly. And sometimes we can look at a person with different eyes when we can see this inner beauty, inside
right.
beauty. And the lady even physically becomes more attractive to us because it can be separated. Attractiveness of her appearance without good qualities, good values, it's pointless, it's empty energy, and it would be definitely a huge challenge for any man. So to to make our to consume everything,
Mhm.
ladies don't try it first. They don't cover with wishes, compliments, desires, and all these things. Huge age gap, guys, not that realistic for Ukrainian women. Can be occasionally if you know each other from some area, some circle of friends or working area, you already know each other. And this, you get know each other closer with some
Mhm.
time and have something in common. And then you can like, uh, attract to each other when you already know personality very good and you can be attracted to this personality, but definitely not on the side with that. Let's look one more time with that, ladies. How many admirers do you think this lady can have in real life? She is a very beautiful woman.
Well, that woman could, I mean, I just like to tell some guys that if you think about it in this perspective, When was the last time you went to the store, like Lowe's or Home Depot, any of the hardware stores, or any event outside of your home, and a supermodel approached you and said, I want to fall in love with you? I mean, it's the same thing online. No respectable woman is going to make the first contact with you because that's her power, that's her energy. Her feminine energy would not allow that. Her self respect wouldn't allow that. She's looking for someone who's leading, someone who's going to be there and stand up and do the right thing. So it's kind of like not paying on a first date. It never goes well. But reality is reality. And very rarely do you have a bikini model come up and ask you out when you're out in public. And if you do, congratulations. But
This is by the way, very important observation from you, like from a foreigner to Ukrainian culture in general. Yes, a woman who respect and value herself, she will exactly expecting from you this approach and these first steps, respectful steps. Like you should prove that you worthy man, and she will not chasing you.
I'll tell you, the only people that approached me when I was in the Ukraine for dating was, and you know why I was there. I'm going to save the audience that, but I was surrounded by old ladies and grandmothers, and they would tell me who I needed to go marry, which was mostly one of their relatives, right? But the young girls never did. But sometimes the grandmother would drag me over there and point her out and go, ask her to, da 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 da. But the young ones never did. Um,
And this is like should be the main rule for all guys, for all foreigners. Just ask yourself simple question: why me? What's special in me that this beautiful woman attract her attention exactly to my profile, and ready for these relations on distance, ready to wait for something,
right,
some period of time. So just ask yourself logic questions. Don't fall in this catfishing, on these like messages which try to incentivize you for speaking, and pay attention to red flags
right. And my best advice is actually, go there. I mean,
as soon as possible.
go in one of the small villages. Even go to the border of Poland, and where there's a large number of Ukrainians. And my second piece of advice is get to learn the grandmothers. They will point out who you need to be with, right? And
Yeah,
they feed you incredibly well. But
yeah, true.
beautiful country, beautiful people, and
Thank you.
it's it's. I think another thing men need to be aware of is that they sell a fantasy. These sites date a beautiful Ukrainian model. Ukrainian people are rich in culture, well educated. Nobody walks around there thinking, "Oh, I'm poor and destitute. I need to get out of here." It's generally a numbers game. There's more women than men, and they have traditional family values. They want that, for the majority, want that wife kids situation.
I have also my own opinion, which is not that short to explain.
Mhm.
So, of course, such kind of lady, I mean, a lot of beautiful ladies in Ukraine, which look
Absolutely.
exactly that those, yeah, they had Photoshop of their
Mhm.
pictures, but anyway, they beautiful. A lot of really
Mhm.
beautiful ladies we have, but the most important to understand the nature, the inside values of those
Mhm.
ladies, that they will not like sell themselves. They don't have cheap values. They will not chase in a man, because it's also a challenge for a woman to find a good partner, especially for beautiful women. Some
Right.
men afraid, weak men afraid to get know her.
Mhm.
So she has other offers. Renee is very correct here, very accurate. Approach a man in person. She has plenty of offers. Yes, she is. It is true, but at the same time, she needs to separate hunters who want just her body and
Right.
who has serious intentions, good men with serious intentions. So for ladies, for beautiful ladies, it also some kind of challenge when she need to behave herself in a very correct way to
Right.
show, to prove a man that she not only beautiful, but that she can have this healthy family and bring their good values.
And one thing else I wanted to add about what you were saying about beautiful women there, one other factor in that is the very manner that that traditional values make them carry themselves, how they dress in public, how they act in public. It automatically brings them up, their beauty up, because it for if you're an American and you're over there, it's like you've landed in a land of actual women. It's very feminine. The women, they're very super well dressed. I mean, you can't even compare. And Zana, I don't know if you've ever been to Walmart, but that's a whole different realm of people. It's very. And I keep going back to 1955. It's just that kind of mentality of how they carry themselves with pride, with they want respect, but it makes them that much more beautiful. They take care of their beauty.
And here we come to one more tip. Ukrainian ladies, they don't try to show all their body. Ladies with good values, they will dress humble. They will not bring up their breast, their boots, or to show as much body as it possible, to
Right.
show on their profiles their pictures in bikinis, because they respect and value themselves. So it also should be a red flag when the lady try to sell herself like a sexual stuff. It
Mm-hmm.
shows on her very low values, and it should be one more red flag. So all those beautiful profiles when ladies staying in bikinis, guys, they just want to sell her their body.
That's all they have to offer. I mean, literally, they absolutely that's what they have to offer.
And
And
on Ukrainian streets, Sean can prove the same. So we don't have this. If it is an evening in the restaurant, even some party, some disco, it can be very sexy dress, but it doesn't mean that it's dress that little that you can see absolutely everything. So it should be like it can be such weather, such clothes when you can see nothing, but it looks even more
I want to say one
hidden,
thing
hidden
about
shape,
their
but
first
more
date.
sexy.
I'd like to say something about their first date because I hear a lot of mention about gifts. And the best gift you can give, I found, was something from where you're from. It doesn't have to be super personal, but for instance, let's say you're, I don't know, if you're, I don't want to say where I live, but if you bring something that's candies that were from that area, or just something that's reflective of your home, always went over bigger than the flowers or perfumes or anything like that.
Yeah,
And
it is good. So in one hand, of course, every lady, she will appreciate and value your attention. It's like an indicator of how caring you are.
right.
And in other hand, it should be some realistic, some healthy thing. So it shouldn't be, I think, more than like 50 or $100. Depend on your opportunity. So sometimes it can be better present if it will
Mhm.
cost $20. That's something like when it would be some show off. So of course it's just not appropriate if you will bring some brand top brand bag. It can happen only when you stay in relations. It's impossible for first date.
Right. And I have a funny story about that. And I wasn't even dating her. She was my translator. And when I left the Ukraine, went back to the United States, came back to the Ukraine, and I bought her a very expensive gift, and I got chastised by her. She was mad about it for 3 days because how could I be so wasteful? I mean, they don't understand waste, and you'll look dumber
Mhm.
being wasteful than like the hero. They will not respect that at all. Because she wants to know that you can manage your life
Uh,
and manage your
Sean,
money.
it would be very appreciated when it would be in certain time when you have this real, full, certain relations. It would be
Right.
appreciated, of course, everyone, every person,
Mhm.
Ukrainian people as well, materialistic in that way that we appreciate good, comfortable, beautiful things.
Right.
Every lady would be happy with some beautiful dress, beautiful shoes, beautiful bag when you stay in relations, when she into you like to a person. But when you do this at the first dates, don't doesn't know in the lady, of course she will think that you are a dumpy because it
Right.
is impossible to invest that much in someone you have no idea about.
Or if they're just your translator or something like that. But yeah, of course, when you're in a relationship, then the table turns. You know, every woman wants the best life. I mean,
It
we
is
all do. Every
normal
man wants
desire,
it.
but first she want to be with you, like with a man, with a friend, with a lover, with personality, and
Right.
then build this great life together. But
Right.
first should be just you.
Well, right, because she's testing you at first. She wants to make sure you're going to be stable, that you're going to be smart,
It's
and
not
that you're
even
going
about test, Sean. I can't say that we have some test period. It's test like subconscious test to see, to observe how
to.
serious you into this
Right.
lady. It's not like, okay, today we will have a test, and if he will not spend $200 on me on this date, then I will skip because he is not stable. Not, of course, not, nothing like that. She
Right.
just needs to understand that you will be ready to help if it needs, as well
Right.
she will be ready to help you if you need.
Well, we're saying the exact same thing.
Good.
It's kind of it's a mental test where she doesn't want to see you being wasteful or any of these things. I mean, she's looking for somebody who's going to be a good husband. That's the only. She's dating with a purpose. She's not going out just to have fun or have dinner. Um,
Thank
and
you, Bill. This video is really good exchange of information and understanding serious intention of marriage. Yes, guys, as I told you, this interview very tricky, not because Sean is a victim of scamming. In fact, literally, he is, but he did this by purpose. I will remind you guys, Sean write in a book, and then he absolutely understood from the beginning when he was at that side, if you was attentive from the beginning of the story. He did research of the most popular sites which he understood that they will have scam, and
can you put
then
my profile picture up for the gentleman?
um I can't show right now. I don't have here
Oh,
it's StreamYard because we have very we can't download a lot of pictures here, so
right,
it was important to show girls and the way they catfishing and to pay attention to all the red flags.
right.
And then Sean came to meet Guaranty, and I
Mhm.
wish you, Sean, to be lucky and successful in your journey. I absolutely believe that you will meet that good lady and will be happy very soon. I know you are in the process with Luba. Wish you good
Mhm.
luck with that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm. I told her I'm still, even though I went into it the way I went into it, it still left a bad impression. And that's why I said you have to be careful with these sites because it makes you a little uneasy and to go forward, and you start questioning more. You have to
I
get
don't, I
you have,
don't, I didn't see any kind of like changes in you because you understood realistically everything you did there on the side. So I don't think that it would be an issue for you because we discussed this
right.
moments about person you want to meet. So
But
not not in your case, not in your
January.
case, but
Right, but that was January 5th, 4th. something like
Mhm.
that. To when I contacted you guys, I took a break and said, okay,
To calm down, to
right,
breathe out. Okay, Sean, thank you so much. It was really
yes, ma'am.
priceless information
Hmm.
for our viewers. And guys, I will run one more time our contacts for those guys. One moment. I will find the comment. Dylan. Mhm. If Dylan, you want, you also can contact us and share your story if you want, and we will try to to help. Also, guys, you can call. This is a free number to book your complimentary consultation. Just try to have this. Matchmaking session, even not matchmaking, I can say this first session, it would be like a consultation to bring up your real chances, how realistic you are, how successful you can be with any lady, any Slavic lady at least.
Right.
If you have any story, we also just by the pattern of your communication, even if it is not a PPL site and you don't need to pay. So the most tricky scammers, they communicate personally one-on-one in WhatsApp, Telegram, or some other apps, or through mail. And it is very tricky because they behave themselves like real women. And then you get into trap and unfortunately understand this with somebody's help very
The other fact people forget is that constant use of the iPhone, texting back and forth, actually makes you addicted to that. You get a dopamine hit every time
Mhm.
your phone goes off. You get the notice from SofiaDate and you go da da dee da da da, and you run to it. And after a while, since it's 24 hours a day, I've actually met guys who were up doing this 18 hours a day. They're charging you per minute, per message, per chat, all of it's charged. Then they're charging you per picture, per videos.
They are like druggers who stay in there by hours and they can't
Right.
escape from this fantasy world. Okay, Sean, I'm really grateful for your
Yes,
story,
ma'am.
for your knowledges here to guys. I wish you good luck in your search.
Yes, ma'am.
Stay well. Best of luck.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Bye bye. Thank you so much, guys, that were with us today, and I hope that this video will be very helpful for you. A lot of good moments for you, for your understanding. Thank you so much. Bye bye. It was pleasure to be here with you today.